I want to show you guys this little high tunnel, we'll call it. I could put a heater in it and then it'll be a greenhouse, but it's real simple. It's PVC and it's designed to go up and down, so it's glued only, well, why wouldn't it be? But it's glued, the horizontals are all glued, 1, 2, and 3, and then the verticals are glued at the above and below, 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side, and then everything else just fits into the fittings, so it can all come apart, and I can just store it pretty efficiently. The plastic is new this year, so it's going to let a lot more light in, which is really nice. But the key to any of these temporary structures is the snap clamps. So 3/4 inch PVC snap clamp for a 3/4 inch PVC structure. And yeah, it was really warm this morning, and that was because this is a cool spot. It gets morning sun. It shoots in right through there, and that really warmed things up quickly. So that's it. I got some starfruit and guava and papaya and things, and this is not how it's going to stay. I'm just kind of worrying about space. I'm going to shove a lot of stuff in when the time comes, and I also put in a heating element like an incandescent, and yeah, and then it makes it through the couple freezes, and then everything can spread back out. So hopefully that gives you something to think on. I've got all that conduit for building temporary cold protection structures, and that's what this was, but then I continue to use it for shade and wind protection. So right now it's got shade cloth, and it's protecting a grapefruit tree, and this tree's got a really cool backstory. It's a rescue, and basically it's a rescue from digging out of a landscape, but it had such a big root ball it could barely be moved, so it's actually just sitting on top of the soil. Anyway, it got froze last January really hard, and so it needed some TLC in order to bring it back. So I built this structure, and it is made out of 3/4 inch EMT conduit for the most part. It's got 1/2 inch EMT for side rails, and the pipe bender is a really valuable tool because it allows me to not have to spend a lot on the joints because all of my connections are straight. So, you know, this curve is bent with the bender, the top is bent, and I only have to use these, which are a lot cheaper. These are set screw couplings. That's the kind you want to find for just something cheap like this. And then it just all goes together, so you could kind of build your size and shape that you need. And then this material can be zip tied on, but for other stuff you would have to use snap clamps. So up here, see those little PVC snap clamps? That's really the key to a lot of these structures, is being able to snap on your material and allowing the plastic or the tarp or the shade cloth to give the structure a little bit of rigidity. So let me go show you my newer version. This was last year's version, and I've got a newer one that I've done. Alright, you guys, so here's the new version of a quick temporary structure that you can throw a tarp on to protect your fruit trees. And this is an acerola that it went through a light frost the first night with all the snow, and it got just a teeny bit of damage, and so I decided to cover it, and you'll see it got a little bit of damage where it touched the plastic, but in general this structure allowed me to protect the tree because I just threw this big thing of plastic up on top with some snap clamps. So the new design is just this. You know, I have a pipe bender, so I was able to create some uniformity, and a simple piece of rebar is what I use to connect it, so I can drag the plastic over the top quickly, you know, with just using a stick. And then I just tied it together with a wire, and when you're putting this in, you put the rebar down one, and then you kind of have to pull down on the other, so you're kind of like spring loading it so that it's not going to slide around or anything. But this, as far as structures go, you couldn't even make it cheaper out of wood, because it's only got the investment of the pipe, and that's a very permanent, a good investment. You know, the rebar is easy to find, scrap. I guess there is a little more, but you know, this is an under a $10 thing if you have the tarp or plastic, or even a sheet. So here are the snap clamps. They're pretty cheap when you buy them in bulk, and this is what holds the material on and allows you to give you know, a little bit of structure, because I've had those sheets blow off, I've had the tarps, you know, blow around, and this will really help. You got to buy a 1/2 inch snap clamp if you're working with 3/4 inch conduit Otherwise, you just buy based on the PVC that you're using, because you can also make these structures out of PVC. I just don't think that they're any cheaper or any stronger, more durable. I think that this system is pretty decent. And so yeah, that's about it. This is going to be this is my strategy for when the trees don't have a very full canopy, or when they're young and I really want to baby them. I'll give them an enclosure, because you can do a lot by putting plastic or a tarp over in a freeze situation. Also, I can leave on a plastic, like a greenhouse plastic, and just open up one side, or keep a roof. You know, there's a lot of design options here once you're using snap clamps and getting into those materials. But that's the system for stuff that doesn't have a strong canopy. And if the tree has a strong canopy, then I would recommend, or I would be going with the clay pot heater, some way to just add a little heat to the situation, because the tree itself is going to be able to catch and hold a lot of it close to the trunk and things like that. So a few more cold protection strategies for you guys to ponder on and experiment with. I hope that was of value, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.